Welcome to the verse-by-verse study of the book of Proverbs. We shall begin chapter 20 today, beginning with verse 1. Wine is a mocker, and beer is a brawler. Whoever is led astray by them is not wise. God warns us of the dangers of being led astray by alcohol. In fact, there's 4 different proverbs about that subject. Why? Because of its many harms. It's the leading cause, for example, of breakup of marriages. Alcohol is linked to contributing to over 200 different preventable diseases. The CDC reports that over 95,000 people in the United States have died a year from alcohol abuse, ranging from drunk driving to liver failure. And that's not counting another 92,000 deaths from drug overdose. The Proverbs warns here that alcohol is an unwise choice. It is a mocker and a brawler, meaning that it is a person that does not have restraint, and the consequences are never good. Likewise, the book of Ephesians warns, do not get drunk on wine. Why? Leads to debauchery. Drinking distorts our ability to reason and makes us highly vulnerable to harming ourselves as well as harming others. Drunkenness, being drunk, was unwise 3,000 years ago and is unwise today. Next, a king's wrath strikes terror like the roar of a lion. Those who anger him forfeit their lives. This is a repeated general statement. A king here represents civil authority. You and I are warned not to intentionally anger, meaning to violate civil law. Wisdom says we're to respect both civil law and, of course, God's law. It is to one's honor to avoid strife. But every fool is quick to quarrel. A fool goes looking for trouble. The fool creates conflict by being quick-tempered and quarrelsome. Wisdom teaches us that we are to be reflective and slow to anger. Here, this term to avoid means literally to remain seated, to remain calm. Sluggards do not plow in season, so at harvest time they look but find nothing. Laziness is warned against in 10 different chapters in Proverbs. Why? Because again, it's a bad choice. It never ends well. The purposes, meaning the plans or desires of a person's heart, are deep waters. But one who has insight draws them out. Here, deep water implies the unknown. It means it's hidden. A person's true motives and desires are typically deeply hidden, because only God can truly search the heart of man. But you and I, the verse is teaching, is that God, through his Spirit and through his wisdom, does give us insight, to give us discernment, to recognize his truth, to assist us in navigating life, and to steer us clear of those that seek to take advantage of us. Many claim to have unfailing love, but a faithful person who can find? The word here in the Hebrew for unfailing love can also be translated loyalty. The verse is saying that many claim to be loyal when times of trouble come, but true faithfulness is validated in action, not in simple words. A true loyal friend is indeed a rare gift from God. God's wisdom also calls us to follow Christ's model and be a true friend to others. The righteous lead blameless lives. Blessed are their children after them. So here you and I are called to be blameless. But fortunately, that does not mean perfect, and it does not mean sinless. It does mean we're to walk like Job. This man was blameless and upright. He feared God and shunned evil. To be blameless means we have confessed and repented of our sin. We've gotten rid of that burden. And we're not attempting to conceal, to deny, to justify, to blame others, nor to continue in it. Repenting means to stop, to turn. We're also told to hold ourselves accountable before God. And if we do, he will forgive our sins and grant us the capacity to walk upright, to walk in freedom and in peace. This verse also adds that walk will be a teaching testimony to our children as it demonstrates God's wisdom in action. We shall see with that walk this fruit of honesty, slow to anger, caring, diligence, and kindness. Next, again, a general statement. When a king sits on his throne to judge, he winnows, meaning he sifts out all evil with his eyes. At this time, of course, a king was both the judge and the jury. The king was the judiciary for both criminal and civil matters. So a good king needed discerning eyes to see the truth while sifting through all the conflicting testimony. Here's saying that God's wisdom and spirit gives us that capacity to sift, to discern. Who can say, I have kept my heart pure, I am clean and without sin? The author is reminding us, yes, we can walk blameless, but we should also remember to walk with humility and remain close to God. Why? Because we're just one step away from repeating that sin. We are only pure and clean for one reason, God's grace, not anything we did. We are all a continual work in progress. A process is called sanctification, which is that ongoing process of failing and growing in God's wisdom. Different weights and different measures, the Lord detests them both. Another proverb about honesty. God detests anyone that attempts to take advantage of others, hereby fraudulently cheating customers with faulty weights. God demands that we treat everyone as we wish to be treated. Another general reminder. Even small children are known by their actions. So is their conduct really pure and upright? The verse is teaching that even a young person develops a reputation based on his or her choices and actions. Therefore, they, by the parents, should be taught accountability and integrity because they're forming these patterns for life. So we're supposed to teach them early in life that their actions should be pure and upright. Ears that hear and eyes that see, the Lord has made them both. This verse could be interpreted two different ways. The verse is either speaking about God's eyes and ears, reminding us about his sovereignty and that nothing is hidden from his gaze, or it could be referring to our eyes and our ears, meaning that God has granted us the capacity of discernment. His wisdom gives us capacity to see, hear, and speak his truth. And also his eyes and ears hold us accountable to do the same. He sees and hears our motive and our actions is the reminder. Next, I return to the warning of laziness. Do not love sleep, or you will grow poor. Stay awake, and you will have food to spare. God is obviously not speaking against sleep. He is speaking against uncaring, sleepy attitude of shirking our responsibilities. He is warning that attitude of indifference and uncaring will lead to a life of loss. Our last verse for today, again, is about honesty. It's no good, says the buyer, then goes off and boasts about the purchase. This is another example of a negotiation trick, like using that false measuring weight of verse 10. Here is the buyer is attempting to take advantage of the seller. The buyer is falsely telling everyone that the seller's goods are no good. They're inferior. They're broken. They don't work, something. He's trying to harm the seller's reputation in order to reduce the demand for his goods and therefore to get a much lower price. And then he goes off and brags about it. But God's wisdom says you and I are to engage in honest dealing. That is the choice that will be blessed by God. We shall stop there and finish chapter 20 next week. Until then, may God bless you. Bless your family with both grace and peace. Aloha.